So when I talk to experience, I talk to experience in a context of exploration and curiosity. And sometimes you don't need to travel 1,000 miles to live that. Sometimes we have neighborhoods in our own communities in which we can volunteer on a weekend. And sometimes we have inner city schools that are looking for powerful mentors. And I'm completely convinced that if you are the head of a powerful organization, you don't need to go to a seminar in Fiji with all your executives to broaden your experience. Sometimes it's just across the street, helping our own community, and that will stimulate a powerful part of our brain, which is creativity, and our heart, which is the search for love and authenticity. And then we become not only better managers, but better persons. And sometimes this feels almost as something too cheesy or naive, but I've seen it myself. I've seen the difference of someone who has led with the resentments of saying, oh, I came from this party and these people stole my property, and when I come to power, I will destroy them. I've witnessed the destruction that the lack of perspective and diversity creates in a community. And then I've seen people, I've worked in two cabinets. I'm a former Secretary General of the Defense Ministry. I was one of the youngest, I think probably the youngest member in cabinet at the time. At age 27, I was placed as the number 3 person in the Ministry of Defense, where I had to deal with the equivalent in what in the US you call the Veterans Department. And I had to go to communities to talk to people that have were their leaders, for example, and I knew them by name. I said, oh, this is the community where my father was arrested. My father, during the dictatorship of the 1970s, was arrested and tortured. And I had to now help that people through social services. I said, well, now I have to put that aside, because if I want to be authentic to what I promised myself, I cannot put resentment in the middle of my service. So you may say, Bill, that this kind of barriers in the developed world could be probably race, could be ideology, could be differences in income. Sometimes we have so many barriers in the way that we're raised that sometimes we don't even realize how narrow-minded we could be. You see, and only exploration with curiosity can help us become emotionally and mentally diverse. That a leader can only be successful if he or she is guided by truth, by love, and compassion. I think that people can be a great manager if we can be great managers if we're competent enough. But there's a difference between being a great or good manager and being an authentic leader. There's a difference between the two. I think that if you truly love those who you serve, that is authentic leadership. I believe that leadership is all about love. So authentic leadership in this context, it's about genuinely caring for and loving the people we lead more than leading itself. So in terms of providing an additional insight, I think that it's important to know ourselves and understand from where does this inner force comes, and I'm sure you've witnessed as well that a lot of people do not know what's the reason why they're doing something. Sometimes they want the position and they work for years for a certain position, and when they reach their position, it's only a sort of high, which is very brief, and then they're looking for the next challenge, and it's kind of a treadmill in which they will never be fully satisfied, because it's only the position that they love. It's only having the new position, the new higher position on the business card, right? So investing time, if I have to give a final advice, in knowing ourselves, in understanding our inner force. And if that response does not come naturally, I think that it's worthwhile to begin that exploration, because without that clarity about your inner force, everything we do in life from then on will be mediocre. I think that there's a confusion, a typical confusion in a lot of industries about leadership, how to define leadership. I think that if in a way you're going to touch at some point that, I'm sure you've already reflected about it, but I think that leadership has become such a big word in a way that is a sort of bucket in which we want to put everything inside the context of leadership, and that makes a disservice to the discipline of searching for authentic leadership.
Wow.